This practice exercise will allow us to understand the pairs or angle pairs formed by a transversal. Now again, a transversal line is a line passing, cutting, intersecting two or more lines at different points. So in our given figure here, we have three different lines. We have line S, line P, and line R. But only one of these three lines is considered to be a transversal line, and that is actually line R, because line R intersects line S and line P at two different points. Now that we have line R as our transversal line, we have formed eight different angles here, to which I labeled with angles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And this practice exercise is concerned on identification of the correct pairs of angles, namely corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, same side interior angles, and the same side exterior angles. So we have considerations or conditions for each of these pairs of angles to be met so that we could consider them as corresponding, alternate, etc., etc. Item number one is concerned on a pair of corresponding angles. Corresponding angles, by definition, has three conditions. Number one, they must be on the same side of a transversal line. If we talk about these eight angles here, and this is our transversal line, the angles on the same side are angles 1, 2, 8, and 7 because they are on the same side of the transversal. This is also true with angles 4, 3, 5, and 6 because they are also angles on the same side. So if we are going to pick angle 1, the angle to be paired with angle 1 for them to be considered to be a corresponding angles or a pair of corresponding angles are angles on the same side of angle 1, which could only be either angle 2, angle 8, or angle 7. That's the first condition, but we are not yet sure which of the three. The second condition is that they must be non-adjacent. If you say non-adjacent angles, angle 2 is not now possible. For angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent angles. So it could only be angle 8 or angle 7. So we have two conditions already. Again, angles on the same side. Number 2, non-adjacent angles. And number 3, the two angles to be considered to be corresponding angles are angles satisfying the third condition, which is one of the two must be found on the exterior and the other must be found in the interior. If we talk about interior angles, they are angles bounded by the two different lines, the non-transversal lines. So angles 2, 8, and 3 and 5 are considered to be angles on the interior. The rest of the angles are considered to be exterior, and those will actually be angle 1, angle 4, angle 7, and angle 6. So if the third condition is that the pair must have one angle on the exterior and the other must be in the interior, angle 1 is already found on the exterior. Since its pair could only be angles 8 and 7, we are going to pick the angle which is in the interior, and that is actually angle 8. So the first pair of corresponding angles are angles 1 and angle 8. Again, the conditions for corresponding angles, number 1, they must be found on the same side of the transversal line. Number 2, they must be non-adjacent. And number 3, one of which must be found on the interior, which is angle 8 in this case, and one of which is found in the exterior, that is actually angle 1. So that's the first pair of corresponding angles. The second pair of corresponding angles in this given figure is the pair of angles which is also on the same side of angle 1 and angle 8. That's actually angle 2 and angle 7. If we are going to examine them, angle 2 and angle 7 are found on the same side of the transversal. That's the first condition. Second, they must be non-adjacent. That's already satisfied. And number three, one of which is in the interior, that's angle 2, and the other is found in the exterior, that's angle 7. So these are the first two pairs of corresponding angles for for this figure. But we still have other angles found on the other side of the transversal. So if we're going to pick angle 4, its corresponding angle must be non-adjacent, and since it's an exterior angle, it should be on the interior of the figure and on the same side. So that should be angle 5. As for angle 3, its pair is angle 6. So given that we have 8 angles formed in this figure, we have 4 pairs of corresponding angles. That is how we answer item number 1. Let's proceed to item number 2. Item number 2 talks about a pair of angles which are considered to be alternate interior angles. From the name itself, we could actually give the conditions, but we are just going to add one more. The first condition is that they are angles found in the interior. So if we say interior, we only have angles 2, 3, 8, and 5. So if I will pick angle 2, the angle to be paired with this for them to be considered to be alternate interior angles should be either angle 3, angle 8, or angle 5. That's the first condition. The second condition is on the name itself, alternate. If we say alternate, the two angles must be found on the opposite sides of the transversal. So since angle 2 is found on this side, angle 8, which is also found on that side, could no longer be its pair of alternate interior angles. So since angle 2 is already found on this side, angle 8 is not anymore possible because it is also found in the same side as of angle 2. So alternating will be met. So it could either be angle 3 and angle 5. Those are the two conditions, anterior and alternating. And the last condition that should be added here is that the pair of alternate interior angles are non-adjacent. So since we only have 3 and angle 5 here, but since angle 3 is adjacent to angle 2, angle 3 is not possible. So the angle to be paired with angle 2 for them to be called alternate interior angles is the angle 5. This is the first pair of alternate interior angles. The second pair of alternate interior angles are the angles not angle 2 and angle 5 in the interior, and that would be angle 3 and angle 8. As we check, angle 3 and angle 8 are both on the interior. Angle 3 and angle 8 are found on opposite sides, and they are non-adjacent. So these are these are the pairs of alternate interior angles in the given figure. As for number 3, okay, if we talk about number 3, alternate exterior, so it's still alternating but now on the exterior. So instead of angles 2, 3, 8, and 5, we are going to focus on the angles found on the exterior parts, which are angles 1, 4, 7, and 6. So if I will pick angle 1, its pair, or the angle to be paired with this for them to be considered to be alternate exterior angles, are also angles found in the exterior. So it could either be angle 4, 7, or 6. The second condition is given by the name alternating. So if we talk about alternating, angle 7 will not be anymore possible, for angle 7 and angle 1 are found on the same side. Alternating angles means they are found on opposite sides. So it could only be angle 4 and angle 6 or angle 6 that could be paired with angle 1 for them to be considered to be alternate exterior angles. That is actually to be answered with the third condition, which is that they should be non-adjacent. So since 4 is adjacent to angle 1, it's not possible. So the angle to be paired with angle 1 for them to be considered to be alternate exterior angles is angle 6. This is also true with angles 4 and angle 7. Okay, for they are found in the exterior, found on the opposite sides, and they are non-adjacent. Let's have number 4. Number 4 talks about a pair of same side interior angles. So we are going to go back to angles 2, 8, 3, or 5 because they are the angles found in the interior. But the consideration here is they must be found on the same side. If we are going to pick angle 2, so it's pair or the angle to be paired with this, that could be considered to for them to be considered to be same side interior angles are either angles 3, 5, or 8. But the angle which is found on the same side of angle 2 is angle 8. The next pair is with angle 3 and the angle found on the same side, still interior, angle 5. Okay. And finally, for number 5, same side exterior angles. So same side exterior, we are going to shift our focus on angles 1, 4, 7, and 6 for they are found in the exterior. And if I will pick angle 1, the angle found on the same side of angle 1 is angle 7. Take note that the same side is this area here. Do not be confused in thinking that it is actually angle 4 because the transversal line here is line R, not line S. So if it's line R, the same side to angle 1 are these angles here, and the answer will be angle 7 for number 5. That leaves angle 4 and angle 6 as the last pair of same side exterior angles in this figure. So these are the pairs of angles formed when we have a transversal cutting two lines at different points. Now, why is it this is very important to be understood properly? It is actually very important because if we deal with a special type of line, in this two special type of line cut by a transversal, in this given, line S and line P are not to be given to be parallel lines, but if they are given to be parallel, there are special considerations on these pairs of angles. So before we could go to those special conditions, special relationships, we need to identify first which angles are to be pairs or what are the angle pairs formed by a transversal line. Okay, so we cannot assume any relationship later on if this is not given. As for this practice exercise is concerned, we don't have this given, so let me erase this one. And this is our concern for practice exercise A. Stay tuned for the next videos because the next videos will now be concerned with the relationships that could be drawn to pairs of angles formed by a transversal line. See ya. Goodbye.